Shabbos, everybody. It's interesting that the Torah brings down the machlekes of Korach, and he puts down Korach ben Yitzhak. Okay, here we know he's mentioned in the Torah before. He's a meyuchas. He's noisei Ahren. He's somebody special. Okay. Dosan v'aviron b'nei Eliyav. We know they're always troublemakers. Okay, we heard of them before. They have a problem, and at the same time, they're big people. So we're interested to know who is Oim ben Peles. He doesn't come into the Torah before, and he don't come in afterwards. I think that the Torah is trying to tell you that it takes three factors to make a machlekes. You need the one guy who wants the job. That's Korach. Then you have people that hate you. That's Dosan v'aviron. But they wouldn't carry the weight, because people understand you want the job, and you guys are signers. So what, of course, what shaykhs have you got to knock somebody out? But the Oim ben Peles, that's the person, the average person, that he's on the board, if you want to call it, and he listens to the arguments, and he says, oh, you know, Korach's a nice guy. That's not Virman. Guys are good guys. If they're complaining about the rabbi, it must be the rabbi's fault. Or that we don't know if it's the rabbi's fault. So let's go investigate the rabbi. Or if the rabbi would leave, wouldn't it be more peaceful for us in this thing there? I mean, they're the troublemakers. Oim ben Peles, I think, is the biggest troublemakers. And that was his wife's argument to him. In other words, what are you getting involved in for? What's in the gear to you? Either way, whoever wins, Korach or Aharon, you're going to be a Talmud. You're not going to be the chief. It has nothing to do with you. So why are you getting involved? I promised them. So she promised them. So either she got him drunk, or she told him to go to sleep, or whatever it is, and she went out to greet. Okay. And she came to the door. She took off her tichel, whatever she was wearing on her head, and she opened the door. She didn't do any pritzes to get maise. That's when I did. In my house, I can do any dress I want. Not only in my house, even in a chotzer foolish, you can do it. So mainly is you're coming into private property or into an area where there's not too many people, you watch yourself. You want to come to my house, you're welcome. Just you don't look. It's your problem, not my problem. Okay, so these are the three people that had a fight. Now, it's interesting. There were 250 other people. And these 250 other people are going to be Maktirak Teres. Rashi brings down himself that only one is going to live. They knew that in the Tchila. And they said, okay, they're all fools. What was Korach's reasoning? They said, because Korach knew that Shmuel was going to come from him, or he knew Shmuel was going to come from him. And therefore, it's impossible that Shmuel, who's so great, is going to come from someone that's nobody. So it must be I'm going to be great too. So therefore, he was willing to put himself in. I said, I don't understand that reasoning too well, but all right. The Bazei Zokman. Okay. But Lemaise, that the other 250 people all were willing to put their lives on the line. So now you have a funny machlekes here. You don't have 250 people against Aharon. It's 250 individuals against Aharon. Each guy, he's not part of the other 249. He expects them all to die. And that means of these 250, each one felt he was more royal than Aharon to be a thing there. I mean, like, where do you get such a... Why would they have such a havamin? Abalamaisi, you see that they had such a havamin, that whatever they knew what they put in, and whatever it is there, or they knew the respect they had in the community, their shevet, and whatever it is there. But l'chayra, even if you wanted to end, Litza ben Shteir was one of them, like Rashi brings down. That's why I use the word kriye eda, and it's spelled kriye. But if it's read kriye, is because there was a Nossi in there. Okay, that's true, but why did the other 449, what was their Havaminas? And the Kasha. Why did Korach think he was the best? No, you think that Korach was okay, he was a senior member? He's not a senior member. He was a Noisior. Noisior means he's under 50. Because the Avodah of the Levim ended at 50. Moshe Rabbeinu is over 80. Right? What are you starting up with Moshe Rabbeinu? What are you, crazy? I mean, you saw the Nisim he did and everything else did, and then, okay, what can I tell you? Obviously, it wasn't only him. There's probably other things about his wife was egged him on. But, you know, you can be egged on only a certain amount. You don't put yourself in danger because somebody gives you, what do you call it, teases you or gives you. It's something that you actually felt that you had Giatus in you. I was a nice Aahron, so obviously I'm somebody special to a certain extent. And what he calls, and the fact that I'm young doesn't mean anything. You have a lot of people that are young that stay guys. I mean, so Memela, you have Rav Ashi, 12 years old was Rosh Hashiva already. I mean, you don't find other Tavnoim Amoraim that started off young, except maybe he had, what's his name? Rabba was 18 when he became Rosh Hashiva. But it's again, you know, it's a rarity. It's not a, what do you call it? And you found that in any chokhmah really that there is in chokhmah, even though it's interesting. Between Rabba and Rav Yosef was considered was Sinai. Rabba was like a Harav. So it wasn't a point that he was a child prodigy, that he had a fantastic memory, a photographic memory. I mean, it could have been he had that too. But whatever he did, Rav Yosef knew more than him. So therefore, Rav Yosef was Sinai. He knew the thing there, but he was like a Harav. In other words, he was a genius in these type of things. And you have this Meisim B'chol Yom. In music, you had Mozart, you had 12, he wrote his operas, that's all they called there. You had, once I read the youngest, the guy that graduated medical school at 16 was an Indian. Well, he graduated medical school. So that means he had to have already gone to college. Obviously, he couldn't have gone those years to college. It takes to go now. You start at 2 years old, it takes you 12 years to go through school. I mean, it wasn't Narishkeit. How did he go to LSS? You probably took a test to show that you're as smart as anybody else, and then you were able, and you have the ideas as anybody else. Otherwise, you can do it. And you don't have to go to start the class. I mean, well, so there are people that have such kishroinus. The thing, Dalton. Okay, so I mean, that you have, okay. That gives the person to, okay. Okay, so then Moshe, in trying to dissuade him, first he tells him, okay, you guys want to do, come tomorrow with the Keteiros, with the Machtes, and you're going to be alive or dead. Okay, you want to take the chance, it's up to you. Okay. And then he tries to dissuade them. In other words, Rav Lechem b'nei Levi. What does Rav Lechem b'nei Levi mean? This is a problem that exists in chinuch, in day schools. Why do you say in day schools? Principals come in a day school, as far as I'm aware of, what I've heard, is that they change every 2-3 years, get a new principal. That means a young guy comes out of school, he's 25 years old, about that principal. There's a teacher there that's been around for 40 years. He's 60 years old. I'm the teacher and he's the principal. What kind of knowledge is that? I know more about education than he is in this thing. And Mamela, the principals have a hard time in being able to control their staff because they all think they're better than him, which is mamish of Korach. So what are they supposed to do? So this is what he's trying to tell him. You may be right. Nobody's telling you that Aharon is bigger than you. That's not the issue. The issue is that what is my job? Aharon was given this job, and this is the thing, and this is his job. You may be bigger than him, but your job is this. Your job in the classroom is you're teaching the class. He's not coming in to tell you how to teach the class, but it's his job to make sure the school works. So if he was telling you that you have to be in classroom at this and this time, it's because that's his job. And if each person will take his job, it wouldn't be a problem. And the Emerson, I tell you that always, that Moshe was supposed to be the Kohen Gadol. So Moshe is, and bigger is Moshe was bigger. So why is Aharon the Kohen Gadol and Moshe the Levi? So it says because Aharon was an Oyev Shalom v'Reidiv Shalom. To be an Oyev Shalom v'Reidiv Shalom, you got to be a very naive person. In other words, you got to hear a machlekes between two people and say, no problem, I can solve that. And he goes in and he solves it. If someone is always choshit, how can I ask mechila for you? How can I ask? You did such a big avla to the guy. You're choshit that you can't be an Oyev Shalom v'Reidiv Shalom. So Mamela, you were choshit, Aaron's going to be makbid on you, so you can't be you can't be the Kohen Gadol. I'm not trying for you to be the Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol has to have that neither, and you don't have it. But I'm saying it has nothing to do who's bigger. Moshe was bigger. L'maisa, you don't fit the job. That's all he can do. He can do a job you can't. And that's what he tried to tell them. Okay. And the fact that you had some specialty also was Eichel Agreisa. Okay. You see, this is you only really see this in Avodas Hashem. You can't judge it in other things. In other things where you have, let's say, the Derech Olam, where you call a midlife crisis. Why does that happen? That happens, a person, when he starts off work, he's going to go to be the president of the company. Goyen, Tzaddik, whatever it is. He gets about up to mid-management, and he stops growing. In other words, and this is one of these things that they tell me about the army. The army, you get promoted to the point of your incompetence. In other words, you're a good private, they make you a corporal. A good corporal make you a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain. Now you go up to Madrege, you're a lousy captain, so they don't promote you anymore, right? Okay, if you're a good captain, you become a major. So we become the things. So in Emerson, what happens is that every position is the worst person in charge is in that position, because he's a lousy guy. You don't want him there. But Lamaisa, that's what happens, because you promote the person till you know you can't promote him anymore. So therefore he's incompetent now. He can't do the job anymore. So he's not loyal. You understand? By us, the end of the Gemara, when Rebbe needed a Rosh Yeshiva, he said Rabbi Hanina should be the Rosh Yeshiva. So they asked in a different place, they had nothing service. They asked him, what about Reb Chia? Reb Chia is the bigger. Gedolei Ma'aser Chia. He's out teaching little kids. I don't shepherd him. Sure, everybody can say. But little kids, you got to need a special pro. He can do it. So they're shepherding. So now with the fact that I got this job doesn't mean you're bigger than me or smaller than me. It has nothing to do with it. That's my job. That's all. Okay. Now, Dosim Avirim, even though we're the troublemakers and everything else, we're not pushing the people. have in the beginning of Pinchas, on the count of Shevet Reuven, where they go over the whole union of an Korach or Mesu, they explain, and it does some Aviyam, and they call them again over there. Their God there, it's called, they read them again, Kriye and Kriye. There they called, it's spelled Kriye and read Kriye. Just to make sure that I'm right on that one, I mean, not because over here, it's the other one, you got to know the Shiloh, which one is bigger, okay? I think it's the other way, rather. But when it's spelled Kriye and read Kriye, right? It's spelled Kriye and spelled Kriye. And over here also, when they said Kriye Eidah, it is, here got it's a regular, and here it's got it spelled Kriye. Okay. By the Rusium in Parshas Bamidbar, it's spelled Kriye and it's spelled Kriye and read Kriye. And there the Rambag makes an issue to say that it's Resorgan, and then that a couple of them were Bechaitim, which comes out to Shmuel ben Surishadai and what he called it, the Litzu ben Shteyo, that those two were Chaitim, so therefore they couldn't give it the full title of Kriye. So therefore they called it, they spelled it Kriye, but they were Kriye at that time. So therefore so it seems the Kriya is more than the Ksiv. And on here it says the Ksiv is Kriye, and the Kriya is Kriye. So the thing that the Shaila is, why even write it for them? What is there special about them? So I guess that in Dosan Babion they were focht of the Sheitrim in Yisrael. They got beat up for Klal Yisrael. They cared about Klal Yisrael, whatever it is there. And all the time is Moshe Rabbeinu is always not taking care of Klal Yisrael. He's not doing the job. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. Whatever it is there, and you don't find they even wanted his job, because you see they never even tried out for it. That wasn't the thing there. It's thinking Grace Kasha though, why not? Because could be Shlemis Bas Divri, going to the Medrash, was Dosan's wife, and she was Nitma by the Mitzri. So therefore, so he can't keep her as a wife if he wants to be Kohen Gadol or Kohen, or whatever it is. So he can't do it. So he didn't even try out for the job. He wanted to keep his wife. I guess Aviram figured if my older brother's not trying out, I mean, we passed for me to try out. I mean, okay. But they're not Balei Gaiva in the sense that, you know, we want the job. But no, that wasn't the thing there. For whatever reason it is, they have to understand when the Rebbein Shalom picks somebody, or what it is. It's not a tryout for a job, you know, who's better on the thing there. The Rebbein Shalom picked Moshe Rabbeinu. You saw Moshe Rabbeinu can produce. So what are you fighting about and all these things? That's the time you went on them. But all the times that they complained, Moshe Rabbeinu would explain to them that was the Das HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, the Indian, the tiny by they had no food by the till the mon, right? So they were complaining. You know, where's the food? So Moshe Rabbeinu told them, you know, the mansion could have made it. We could have gone out with food. That's not the issue. The issue is the mansion wanted to show you don't need food. If you don't ask for food, you wouldn't have needed food either. You wouldn't have gotten hungry. But once you got hungry, that to explain how's it shaykh that, what do you mean you got hungry? Why do you complain that you didn't get hungry? Sakin Emerson, a steal from the Gemara to Tilim. In Tilim it says that bread, in Tzayin Ches I think it is, that even bread they eat like a hoygen. The Gemara says that lechem shalu kahoygen, basa shalu like a hoygen. So the bread you're allowed to eat. So I was wondering if Shalom Machlekes the two. I think the pshat is this: you're allowed to ask when you're hungry. You know, with the mention, I'm hungry. I need food. You're the tata, you're going to give us the food and you're hungry for it. But Lamaise, when a person normally eats, let's say he eats in the morning, 7 o'clock, but later, minion, and 8 o'clock, 8:30, he eats. He's usually good till the end of the first Seder, till lunchtime, right? So you're not hungry, okay? At lunchtime, you're not starving. But you can eat, and you can eat with an appetite. But you're not hungry. I gotta eat. No, there's nothing. No tightness. I gotta eat. But there's no tightness here. You don't have to eat. When I tell you there's no lunch today, for whatever reason, but I tell it to you in the middle of the morning, 11 o'clock, I tell you there's no lunch today, all of a sudden you're getting hungry. You don't wait. Why don't you wait? Why aren't you not hungry until 1 o'clock? When you're not hungry until 1 o'clock, why are you complaining at 11 o'clock? I'm hungry at 11 o'clock. But the reason I got hungry at 11 o'clock was I knew there was no lunch. That means you didn't trust in me to be able to wait until you take hungry. That was the avla. That was like a hagen. But when they actually asked, they were hungry, so therefore it's hagen. And he would explain to them that the management wanted this. And this time they didn't even want to come. So whatever it is there, he says, meaning, how much is a person allowed to charge the Klal Yisrael for his stuff? In other words, he's doing a shlichus for Klal Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu. He's going to take him out of Mitzrayim. He has to get to Mitzrayim. He got to buy air tickets. He didn't buy air tickets, he needed his donkey. So who did he this? Technically, I can charge you for the rental of my donkey. And it's because that's what I have to do to get down there and stuff like that. And I didn't even do that. No, that's what's happening. Moshe Rabbeinu and Shmuel Mashma wouldn't even have done that. Wouldn't have even asked to rent from them. And the thing there, I don't want anything to do. If I'm doing it my own. I pay for it. I'm not clear myself. I don't expect anything from you. As I go, Mashiach B'Shmuel, Mashiach Moshe. Okay. Okay. Anyway, he makes up with them. They have to go to the Machtis at the same time that they are going to do the Machtis. At that time, Moshe goes over to Dasim Aviram, where they are, and he sort of talked to them that we should go away from them, because the Rebbeinu Shem told them, tell everybody to go away because whatever you go, okay. And the Medrash says, the Yalkut says really that Korach was from they went into Gehenna, which is from with what do you call it, with Dasim Aviram, but at the same time he was being nisraf, he went in dead. In other words, they went in Chaim, but he went in dead because he was one of the Maktirak Teres, so he had a fire also. So he had both Anshim he had. Nevdom Teich HaKahol, they weren't Teich HaTikvura, they weren't Teich anything, and they completely lost. Okay. Now, he says, the mention in God, it's interesting here, there's 4 times the Rebbeinu Shem wanted to destroy Klal Yisrael. One by the Egel, the Meraglim, and twice by Korach. And it's hard to understand it. It's a schwer meise. Obviously, the people were not anti-Moshe Rabbeinu here. By the Meraglim, they were scared for their lives, so okay, they don't. Everybody except Yeshua and Khalid were anti Moshe now. We want to go back to Mitzrayim. And they think that, okay. Over here, they don't find that Korach had any allies for the actual job. Like I said, the 250 guys, he wanted the job for himself, so therefore there was no allies for that. About maybe his family, but past that, there was no one really on Korach's side. why would they chayiv misa? In other words, and mashma, in this case, probably could have been even Korach and Korach. I mean, what do you call it? Kalev and Yeshua too. You don't find that the whole Yeshua is separated. Why? Because they didn't come to the defense of Moshe. Where were the people that came to the defense of Moshe? What are you guys fighting with Moshe for? Moshe is Moshe. What are you guys doing there? But Meragni did it. No one came to his defense. We're not on the Korach side, but we came to see what's going to happen. Who's right? What's the doing? What do you mean two right? You hold his two sides here? What kind of chutzpah is that? That was the time, I think, on Klal Yisrael. And on the other hand, Moshe Rabbeinu, not so much Sefer Hanova, also obviously to start again the question of the cheshbon, how you're going to, start a new nation. It's all doesn't work because, even though you always ask the kasha, what was the kasha bring down? How can a table or a chair of 3 feet don't stand? So how could one stand? Now with the others who produced the Klal Yisrael, you're going to destroy them, and you're going to say you're going to make me, and it'll be one foot because Moshe Rabbeinu is only 1 skos. So you'll say no, it's 4 skosim. No worries, the others, because he also comes from the others, and Moshe Rabbeinu too, so you have 4. So what's his title? So he said the thing is this: when each of the others was whatever Pshat is Kayla, and all of this stuff is Shtigach Kabbalah. I don't know too much what Pshat about it. But anyway, Avram had 2 children, right? So the Yitzchak got the good stuff, Shmuel got the what do you call it? Yitzchak has 2 children, Esav and Yaakov. Yaakov gets the good stuff, Esav gets the bad stuff. Whatever it is, din, rain, whatever the cheshbenes you have, I'm not going to go into what they are. What does Yaakov have? Yaakov is perfect. Yaakov has 12 kids. Each one has a specialty, has additional derech Hashem to the Bein Shalom, different than the other Shvatim, but they all aim for the same thing. They're all for the what he called. So that was Moshe's time. In other words, once Yaakov split it up, all I got is Levi's chelik. If Yaakov wasn't enough, Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov is not enough, so how is Levi alone going to be enough? That's not enough. So therefore, that's what his title was, I think. Okay, then he says, Moshe says, if the Bnei Shalom will make a new, will just kill them normally, that wouldn't be a raya. It has to make a bri chadosha. Okay. First of all, why? Tam is that they all knew Moshe Rabbeinu was Rabbeinu Shalom's pet. Now, Rabbeinu Shalom liked Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay. So the fact that he listened to Moshe Rabbeinu, that there was no kasha. Because Korach was not fighting Aharon, that he's a chulin going into the Kodesh Kedoshim, terrible thing he's doing over there. He wasn't fighting that. But the reason he's the Kohen Gadol is because Moshe Rabbeinu asked for nepotism. Says, Moshe Rabbeinu said, maybe Moshe, you got a good candidate for Kohen Gadol? Oh, my brother's a great guy. I'll take him for the job. Okay, so they all knew their thing, but we're more worthy. He doesn't deserve to be the job. That was the tiny. Okay. So they knew that the Rebbeinu Shalom listened to him, but to make a bri chadosha, that to make something special, now in reality it's not special because according to the mission in Ovis, it's one of the things that were created Friday Ben Hashmoshes. Why was it created there? Because it can't be, according to Rambam and the thing that there can't be a new creation after Sheish Tzimei Bereshis. The whole idea of Sheish Tzimei Bereshis, that God created the world in 6 days, means that did not take any other day, period. It can't be later than that. So therefore, in these 6 days, they had to have everything else. So called the original Bria was for the Marishan Kaidmachet. That in other words, that there's not going to be anything of goals and things of that sort. And maybe I didn't need the Asor Dvorim that were made in Neshmat. But once we're going to divide ourselves up and into a thing, and we have to create Klal Yisrael and everything else, and there's going to be a difference, and then we need the Brias. And the God, just the Machlekes, I think the Rambam and the Korach, in understanding, how that works. To understand the Rambam too well, I don't really understand, but the Rambam says that the Ben made a Tanai in Maisa Bereshis, that when he'll need that the water should split, the water will split. Right? And the thing over there, which is what happened by Kriyas Yamsuf, and the Shverikite of that is the Gemara Chum, that talks about that Pinchas ben Yoyev split the water 3 times Nochanan the Yarden, and split it for himself, because he's one day talk of a mitzvah, he also split it for the Arab, for Yid, and for an Arab. So like, why did he split it for them for? I mean, that the Rebbeinu definitely didn't have to do, and if he made it Tanai Mitreis Bereshis, he didn't make it 3 times, 4 times at night. So you can say, okay, maybe once you made the Tanai is always working. It can always be split. Water can be split. Okay, I can't answer you. But the Goyen learns what happened was that Kriyas Yamsuf was that it froze, that it became ice, and therefore that became Yabosha. So it became that the thing that there I'm using the natural tendency of the world, because the Rebbeinu made that water can freeze, and he froze it, just it freezes so fast that it was able to freeze it overnight or whatever it is, the thing there. That's the nest, but that's not called a nest already, because there's no new bria that was created. I'm just utilizing the brias that existed already, but at a faster speed or faster, what do you call it? And making coincidences, whatever it is, that's what made it what he called. Okay, so you can learn either way you want to. Okay, but that was the point that is that the pshat is to prove that the Rebbeinu sent me mitchila. I never even advised him on anything. Is only from the point of the fact that it's Bria Chadosha. Okay. Now that we all know, this is one of my pet peeves. I guess it's always on. I don't want to complain about the thing, but this one I can complain about, because this one's all the old Rambams that until Frankel's Rambam, as far as I know, I never saw, but all the Rambams I saw, let's put it that way, that existed there. By the end of Yovel, Shemitah V'Yovel, where it says Lo Shevet Levi Bovad, of anyone that dedicates himself to Avodas Hashem is able to what he called. So the last halacha is Hakoyanim Halvim. He can be like Hakoyanim Halvim. No vav. So I tie it. It's only a Kohen, not a Levi. Because this brings up here, it splits the difference between a Kohen and a Levi. What's a Kohen and a Levi? And I'll show you what it means in Avodas HaKodesh. The Kohen eats only the Rebbeinu Shalemus. Doesn't eat anything, is not given to him at all. This is a Lashon over there. Vaydavish HaMosh V'ani Nosati Elcho Es Mishmeros Trumoshai, my Trume, whatever you give me, your sons, you and your sons. Trum itself is what you give to God, I'm giving it to you. Everything is God's. And therefore I always eat Shulchan Gavoya, and I'm always eating the Rebbeinu Shlit. And that's the guarantee that he has to anybody that's a Kohen, that dedicates himself to Avodas Hashem, totally will never starve. He'll always have what to eat. He'll always have what God's going to take care of him, just like the Kohen. Okay, he goes, and you're eating Shulchan Gavoya. Shulchan Gavoya is always a good thing. Okay. What's a Levi? A Levi is Bnei Levi Hinenasati Komasa Bnei Yisrael Lenachlo Chelef Avodosan. It's a salary. I'm paying you for your work. Okay. What's the difference? A salary is chulun, and what do you call Shulchan Gavoya is kodesh. So therefore, a gzol cannot eat anything that's trumeh or kochim or whatever it is. It's all the chayim is for it. On the other hand, maisa you can eat. There's nothing wrong with eating maisa. So therefore, you see, there's a difference. What would you say is the difference of what the Kohen and the Levi then? I mean, what do you mind mavdol nothing? So Kohen is the Eved Hashem. They're both Ligi and Shemalach. There's no question. We're both working for God. But the question is, one works, I eat from his table. That means I'm part of him. And one is a salary. Working for you is, God, what do you need done in this world? You need a good plumber? I'm a good plumber. You need a Rosh Yeshiva? Fine. But what happens when the cook don't show up? The Rosh Yeshiva has to be the cook? Okay, I'll be the cook. I got to be the plumber too. I got to be whatever it is, the electrician, all the Sachen, that's my job. I'm responsible. Okay, fine. That's a Kohen. What's a Levi? Levi says, I also like to work for you, God. But, less than the 12th grade, it doesn't pass me. And less than $100,000, it's not good enough for my family. So Mamela, that's a Levi. I'm a salary. A salary can the thing is like what you want on the salary. And can you say, but it's not a Kohen. The Kohen is guaranteed. The Levi is not guaranteed. That's the difference. So he went and put in a vav. HaKoyanim v'haLeviyim. So all of a sudden, now my Torah falls off. That's why I'm in the Geber, and obviously I don't want to like that vav in there. The first time I saw he had also several printings. So the first time when I saw it, so it looked up. I didn't have a marker where he got it from, but now in the one I have now upstairs, there's a marker for it. He found it in the Vedic, but the fact that I found it in that Rambam over there is no raya that that's the right way. All the other Rambams didn't put it in for a reason. They didn't put it in because the whole other thing goes. And a lot of times in the Torah, I think it's 25 times, they call the Levim, the Kehanim are called Levim, Koyanim Halvim, and the thing is that the whole Shevet Levi is going only on Kohen, not on the Levi. So how, to touch up these things, whatever it is, but that's the difference. When you do research, you want to fix things. You can't always fix things by making it all go one way, because obviously there was arguments of why we have a Gilsa like this and you have a Gilsa like that. I mean, I think there's machlekes la halacha that way. Bracha b'mkoimai. Do we pass the Rab Chizah, Rab Sheshes, machlekes the Rambam and Tesis and the thing done. And the ganze machlekes is the Mechaber passes like the Rambam, of course, and the Ramah passes not, and the Mishabur puts the whole point. This whole siman does not apply to us except in a case of Mekaimei, Baruch Mekaimei. So I'm saying, so it's totally because Chazal are right, so you can't make just a thing there. Whatever it says in Chazal, that's right. But if we're stuck with a Gilsa, then it's going to be that Gilsa. It's going to have to be right. We can't just make a Gilsa. It sounds better. It looks better. Whatever. It has to be the case. I don't know any pshat, but I don't know about putting out the Rambam, so I can't answer that thing. Why a guy would do it, but he doesn't. Yeah. Then he tells him, I'm going to give you Meiser to you, and he puts in a special thing. And this is the Rosh Yeshiva said a halacha like this. V'nechshav lechem tromasim yagdog ma'amrei ma'amreish ma'amshivya. I'm sorry. That's not enough. Meiser v'nechshav lechem came to me. אשר טריקו באיש ולאסור ונסד מכל חרבו יש מקדישם ממנו ונראים מערימכם יש חרבו ממנו ואחרתם במקום. I think it's twice or three times it says that. מערימכם יש חרבו ממנו. In other words, it doesn't say when מערימכם, when you take off the Chumash Meiser, that's enough. That's not enough. You have to give over Chumash, you have to take חרבו ממנו. What's enough gemina, he says. And this is an Indian what's called is certain chumras that a Baal Nefesh has to do. You're not madrega to do a chumrah. In the madrega you have certain chumras you have to be the madrega according to Mesilas Yesharim in Prishus before you can do. Okay, good. Okay, I can't. There's halacha, Yochav Rabbim, whatever it is. Or there's a normal halacha, but for certain times that the halacha that you see that it's meant for everybody in Klal Yisrael. He said, and this is one of them. He says, you have to shade up chelboy. What happened I didn't shade up chelboy? And the truth is, Bisman said we don't shade up chelboy, but the reason we don't shade up chelboy, Bisman said, because you throw it in the garbage. I mean, you burn it. You don't throw it in the garbage, but you burn it. Or it was supposed to be an igborim, whatever it is. So whatever it is, I can't eat it. So I can't eat it. Why are we going to waste good stuff? We'll waste bad stuff. We also ate to the mitzvah. But normally, when I want to give the Kohen, and that's going to make it that if I'm giving Trumas and Meisos for my stuff. So that it has to be when you give chelboy mimenu, when you give the best. If you don't give the best, it's felt in it. Is it tevel? No, it's not tevel. Technically, once you shade it up, it's up your shade. But the ma'aseh was not what the Rebbe Yisrael wanted. If it's not what the Rebbe Yisrael wanted, then you're not to eat it. So there was some kind of a chumrah of that sort. But that chumrah would extend to everybody because it's felt epis in what you did. It's not that. So we have to figure out what kind of, we didn't go into any cases where you say that it would apply here by us. But if you see it's a song that's felt in the what you're doing, then you're not to do it, not to eat it, or not, whatever you have to do with it. The Haftarah goes into an Indian. Yes, again, why is it the Haftarah? Or it's a machlekes, or could be that you can make shalom afterwards when the wench was boichal shalom melech to be the melech, whatever it is there. But what happened was that originally, when the Bensham picked Shalom Melech, he was an echbar like Caleb. I don't know how people looked at him, but there were a lot of people that didn't want to accept Shaul as the Melech. And the thing that, even though he was taller than everybody else, Meshachma L'mayla. And I only saw what that meant. Normally there's a lot of tall people in the world. Even Meshachma L'mayla. But usually they get to be that tall that it's a little awkward more than the thing that. I'm not talking about like the Schwarzi, the Zulus, that the basketball players, whatever you want to call them, they look normal. Why? Because the Bensham made them enam of tall people. So the made was Nikin Kasha. So they all look normal. But you take a person that's really a 6-footer, the maximum, you make him a 7-footer, so the chayre is going to be awkward. But it's supposed to be a 7-footer, it's Nikin Kasha. Okay. So So I'm saying, so they look more normal and things. But the advice is generally Schwierigkeiten. So I never saw it. There was one guy that's in the yeshiva in the camp. He was one of the maintenance guys. He was standing next to another one. From far, he looked like a regular guy, meaning he's not awkward at all, you know. But I didn't realize his height. But with the Shechma that's how big he is. So all of a sudden I understood what it meant. But Shol HaMelech was Shechma L'mayla. Like this, like he's an awkward guy, a big guy, what big deal? You know, he can't keep his balance. What's the guy shit to him? You know, what's the yichah? But Maisa, he fit. So anyway, so even though they saw that, they weren't convinced. I mean, he was a nechbal like Caleb. He's, you know, he doesn't think too much of himself. He's not a guy that bangs on the table. He doesn't act like a melech. What kind of melech is this thing, you know? So they want to get rid of him. He goes out and wins the war against Ammon, which obviously was, they felt they couldn't win it. And he won it, and all of a sudden, anyway, we're making the show melech, let's go back. Shmuel says, let's go be Mechadish HaMaluch again. And he says some funny things here. Here's a Russian says, okay. So he first gives him Muslim, and he tells him about that when he asked for Melech, it wasn't such a Pasha Zach. He's giving him Musa and this thing there. That the Rebbeinu, when you needed Soros, the Rebbeinu sent you Moshe, Aaron, and Shmuel. That's who he sent you. And then again, whenever you did it, you more when he screamed, Rebbeinu save us. Vayishlach Hashem es Yerubal, ves Bedon, ves Yiftach, ves Shmuel. So the Gemara says you have Gimel Chamurei Olam and Gimel Kulei Olam. Kali Olam, whatever it is, he said. So 3 against the 3. And what do you call it? So what you want to do? So you say, so it's Moshe, and Moshe fits with Yerubal. How's it go? What are the 3? Yerubal, Bedon, and Yiftach. And therefore we come out Yiftach B'deireh, Shmuel B'deireh, and we therefore, and who ben them Bedon is Keneged Aharon, and Yerubal is Keneged Moshe. Okay, good. Okay. Rubal Keneged Moshe, we can say, because Rubal was the only person that the Klal Yisrael asked to be a melech for him and all his daughters forever and ever. Whatever it is, not for David, not for anyone else, but for Rubal they asked, they wanted him. So it was maybe some fits maybe into that case. But their history is wrong. It's Yerubal, Yiftach, Ubedon. But the Don is Shimshon. Shimshon's the last one. So therefore, the Yiftach was before Shimshon. So why is the history wrong? They said because it would have come out the other way. So Shimshon, so Yiftach would have come out Keneged Aharon. Now Keneged Aharon, the problem is that in the time of when Yiftach was the Shem of the Machlekes of between he made an neder that his daughter, you know, whatever it meant that she can't get married or he actually killed her or not, the Machlekes, whatever he made the neder on, he wanted to be matir the neder. So he didn't go to Pinchas because Pinchas, I'm the Melech. And Pinchas didn't come to him because he needs me. And therefore, what happened between them and this guy, she gets lost, and they were both punished because of this. Both of them were punished for this thing. But you would think that if he would be connected Aaron, maybe Aaron's talking bigger. And therefore, Pinchas would be better. So I can't put Yiftach connected Aaron. So I have to put him connected Shmuel, so I'm switching the history in order to put him Keneged Shmuel to say Yiftach version of Shmuel, because Shmuel was everything, and who had Yiftach is everything. He's the melech, he's the melech. That's it. That's all finished. Then he says, another stark Zach over here, which is, I think, the biggest mussar really we can have. We always talk politics. And right now, the cost of inflation that we have is Biden's fault, right? And Biden is whatever it is there. All the problems at the border, Biden's fault. With trouble with Russia is Biden's fault. We have a lot of things that are Biden's fault. Whether he'll be elected or not, we still don't know. But it's still Biden's fault. I mean, that's for sure. What's the point of a king? What do we need a king for? You need a king because the king's job is to make sure that we have internal peace. That means they have police. There's no Gnevis, there's no what he calls, whatever it is there, the internal police. And you also, or peace, and you have foreign peace. You don't have wars. And if you have a war, you're going to win the war. I mean, you have an army, you have this. It's a melech's job to make that the people should have shalom. That's you're in charge of these people, and you're gonna make sure that they have a good life. That's your job. Okay. So the trouble is, like I say, so we all do this thing. And the din is because of that. What happens is if you have a der that the melech is a Rosh, so even though the people are tzaddikim or beribal, they rely on the melech, the whole der get punished. And if I care to works the other way, also they can be sure where the melech can save the der and stuff like this because of the der. How does he get to that? He says, because in Emerson you have here, this is a Russian that he uses here. Hashem Elokeichem Melchem. Yeah, here he says, V'atiru kinochash melchem neyamam bo aleichem, you saw that you're getting invaded. V'atemer leiloi ki melechim echaleinu, v'Hashem Elokeichem Melchem. All this thing that happens, it has nothing at all to do with Biden. It has to do with your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. God is your melech. You want parnasa, you pray to the Rebbeinu Shalom. I don't go to get a job by Biden. I'm going to the Rebbeinu Shalom for saying about him there. Now, B'derech HaTevis, since he's the leader, so therefore we do. But we who shouldn't be relying on him. That's not relying on him, because even in a big market, somebody's making money. That used to be. There's always somebody making money. So the question is, no such thing as nobody's making money. And that's the thing. That's what the whole Gemara is saying there. That there's no parnasa. That's not mean that there's not poor people in it or rich people in it. And therefore the Gemara in Kedushin says, the last Mishnah God says it, what's the reason for it? He says is therefore they don't go into profession to become rich and poor. It's not going to help you. So go into a profession that's kal v'noki, and then pray l'misha amam and shaloi that he should give it to you. But it doesn't make a difference on what profession you're going into, because all you need is money. Money has nothing to do with the profession. Doesn't give the money. The Rebbeinu gives the money. And therefore, that's what you should do. That's what the chiyuv is on a person. And probably on women, I would say, because men, the ink is kal v'noki because you want them to sit and learn the rest of the time. So take the easiest job you can find and the cleanest job and do it. And that's it. And finish. 1, 2, 3. And it could be that's why, you hear, so why was Hillel chayt v'yetzim? And Rabbi Akiva for a while was a chayt v'yetzim when he went away from being the shepherd. The thing there, why would he chayt v'yetzim? I mean, you asked me, that's not a good job. That was a job of avodim, chayt v'yetzim, shevimayim. I think they simply were strong people. And it's easy to read it. I don't have to work for you for a whole day. I don't have to do this. I go into the forest, I chop down a tree, I go and I sell it. whatever it is, everybody needs wood, and I'm finished with it. And I go sit and learn the rest of the day. And then the thing open. So it's not a bazillion to me. It's honest work. There's no reason for me not to do it, and it's easy for me. Another job is hard for me. I've done anything there, but this is an easy job, so I took the easy job. Those things was past me the job. That's why he said that. But the ikar is the relationship that we always have is the Bnei Shalom, is the melech. It's not. There's no such thing as that is dedicated that the Bnei Shalom gave over this job to anybody in the thing. Even though there's an inyan b'derech hateva, that's for sure. There's always a chiyuv of hateva that he was even the revolt against Rome. We're going to have the Tisha B'av. We're going to talk about the three Atzilui Yerushalayim, which was Naglim and Gurion, and Tzitzis HaKtzav, and Kalba Savua, that they were able to hold out all the clothes for 21 years, all these members of Yerushalayim. And the thing over there is he needed it, and they burnt it down, and therefore all of a sudden we're going to starve. You're right. There's derech hateva. The word works derech hateva, but the fact that I haven't tevet to have it, those are the godless. The thing open there. You have, I think right now supposedly was some four people drowned. I think in a submarine or something. They didn't have that. They I don't think they found anything. Assuming they're dead, of which there are 3 billionaires and 1 millionaire. And everything, it would cost $1 million a trip. Everyone paid $1 million to go on this trip. Okay, the $1 million is no money anyway. So you can put away all the money, you can have everything you want in the world, and you can die as a gonet. I mean, why did it go wrong this time? And last week it went perfect, and everybody came out good. And this time everyone drowned. That's been a shemayim. That's the Beis wants to get you, he'll get you. There's no question about it. He gives you this tevet. He made it with the certain ways the derech of the world works. But l'maisa, you got to realize that it works different for me than for him, because we have hashgacha pratis. Is that's we deal in my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the job you're always supposed to have, no matter what. You're not a general member of the public. You have a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu through tefillah, through avodah. It doesn't make a difference how you get that relationship. But obviously the relationship comes through because I trust you, and I depend on you, you're the tate, and I'm asking you, and if you plan on me like that, you're going to get it like that. That's the whole point of the thing, though. The mention doesn't turn you out when you come to him with that type of a thing. I don't believe in you, man. I can turn you down all I want. And that's the chiyuv really of what we're talking about. That's why Shem Lekechem Alkechem is the most important lesson that we know. There is no thing, there's no, whatever you think is only for Chveis Alenet, what it is. You want to write papers, you want to write, I want to make parades, Chveis Alenet, that's why you need a malchus. You want to have a hierarchy, which is really, of course, you see there's a bezoyin by Edom that it doesn't have a hierarchy. You know, by Edom they didn't have a melech ben melech. Even when under the Romans it wasn't really a melech ben melech. It was always, they put a different guy up all the time, besides the fact that there was always revolutions. But there was, I mean, what the guy was necessary, he picked the guy to be a successor, he called him his son. But he picked him. It wasn't shot that it was his son. The thing was not a melech ben melech, because there was no hierarchy. There was an inyan of having a nobility, so we can learn from them, or something like that they're finer dimension, or whatever it is. By us we have Bnei Torah that, so we need that type of nobility. But by Goyim, they need a nobility. Like what makes us act differently than another one? You're supposed to have a shtickle edelkeit in you and stuff like that. That's what the mention wants. And so there is an inyan of having a nobility. But it's not necessarily an inyan of trust that you to take care of me. Nobody takes care of me. The only one who takes care of me is the Shlomo. And that's the part we have to remember. And we have our good Shabbos, everybody. Our good Yo. I think from now on they probably will come from the country, and probably at the regular time. And again, the next Shabbos I got a bar mitzvah. I don't know, but I guess we'll let you know during the week. If you care. Good Shabbos, everyone.